God said, "Make images." The command not to make images seemed to be imprinted on everyone's heart, that at the slight sight of an image, this command is remembered. But did God say, "Make images"? Yes, God permitted images. In the book of Exodus chapter 25, God orders the construction of the Ark of the Covenant, which represented the presence of God among his people. There were other images connected with this ark, the mercy seat and the cherubim, that is, angels made of gold. Furthermore, God gave Solomon the mandate to decorate the temple with monumental and graven images. In the Holy of Holies, there were two great winged creatures of white olive wood. In and out of the temple were carved figures of winged creatures. In fact, the winged creatures were used to decorate the parts of the buildings. Compare the first book of Kings chapter 6, verse 23 to 36. In chapter 40 to 48 of the book of Ezekiel, he had a vision about the heavenly temple. Its features were like those of the Jerusalem temple, where images like the cherubim, lions, and palm trees were found. Compare Ezekiel chapter 41, verse 17 to 20. It can be seen that there were many graven images in the temple and its surrounding, and these were made at God's instance. It was the same God who prohibited the making of any image in the likeness of anything in heaven, on or above, or beneath the earth and in the seas. In the book of Numbers chapter 21, verse 8 to 9, God commanded Moses to make a bronze serpent as a sign of salvation. Reasons for the prohibition of images. We have to therefore bear in mind that God did not prohibit the making of images or any artistic work, whether for religious or socio-cultural purposes. What he did prohibit is worshipping these images as gods or letting them take the place of God. Hence, Isaiah points out the reason for the prohibition of images in chapter 40, verse 18 to 26, when he said that no image can depict God. Thus, the prohibition of images is to preserve the transcendence of God and to emphasize his total otherness. Isaiah chapter 40, verse 12 to 19. From Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 9 to 20, we come to know that making images in representation of God for worship is prohibited because God is the invisible absolute being. Such an image would therefore be a corruption, adulteration, and abuse of God's identity. What is strictly forbidden is to worship and serve any image by taking it as a substitute for God. In other words, the worship of God with or without images and the worship of images or worshipping images as God are repugnant. However, images can be used as an aid in the worship of God. In the book of Exodus chapter 20 verse 5, God told us, "You shall not bow down to them or worship them." From this, we come to know that one could make all kinds of images as long as one has neither taken them as gods nor bow down to them, worship or serve them as gods. One has not broken this injunction. So, the veneration of images in the Catholic Church has not gone against this prohibition because the images are not worshipped. Finally, if God therefore commanded and permitted the use of images of unseen cherubim, he will definitely not be angry at the images of his Son and other people who lived among us and were seen. Images are not objects of worship in the Catholic Church. They only aid us in our worship. Idolatry is far different from what Catholics do with sacred images. Peace be with you.